Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, we've had some news about the new He-Man film. I did a video about it yesterday, but I didn't really think as deeply into it as some people did. When I read that synopsis, I really didn't think a whole lot about it. I really didn't. I just sort of thought it was probably written by whoever wrote the article, and it's not actually going to reflect the actual story. It was probably not even written by the writer. Now, the synopsis, first off, it established that Adam is an orphan. I just kind of thought in my head, oh, that's a mistake. And didn't actually, no alarm bells went off. Now, this orphan discovers he is a prince destined to be the saviour of a faraway land. He must quickly learn of his power and the importance of saving his true home from an evil force. Now, like I said, I didn't read into that. I just assumed that someone else wrote that it really doesn't reflect the final film. And I didn't realise that the actual guy who's been writing the film since it was back at Sony, because Sony sold part of their interest in it, and now it's basically a Netflix film. They still get some of the distribution and I think the China money, but basically it's Netflix's baby now, and that's why Noah Centino's gone, and a lot of things happen when things change studios, things get shooken up and people get removed. Now the writer's still there, David Calhan. Now he wrote Shang-Chi and did I say Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi and Wonder Woman. 84. I didn't have a problem with those films. Some people did, I didn't. So I'm not that worried on that level, but he's been involved for a long time, so he would know what the film's going to be. So if anyone wrote that synopsis, it should have been him. So now I'm a bit worried that it actually is the story, because that's not He-Man's story. He wasn't an orphan. He was raised in a happy family in the palace, and then he was given the sword and given this responsibility and this alternate identity. Now, some of the speculation is that this is actually She-Ra's story, and they're giving Adam She-Ra's story because they don't have the rights to She-Ra, and She-Ra's story is a bit more interesting. She was kidnapped by the Horde, taken from the palace, raised as a member of the Horde and as an orphan, and she realised that she had a family, that, she realised who she really was, and then she had to go off and be She-Ra. Now, she stayed on Etheria to defend Etheria and help free them from the Horde, but she understood who she was for He-Man and who he was. So that is a slightly more interesting story, but it's not his story. Just like there was another story years ago that he was an Earth man, an army man, who somehow got transported to Eternia and suddenly ended up somehow saving the planet and ruling Eternia, this army guy. And I really didn't like that story either, mostly because that's not his story, but also because I just didn't like that idea of the military sort of winning out over this other planet, and somehow it just seemed really oddly pro-army, and it's not an army film, it's a Master Universe film, it's a He-Man film. So it's just like this. He's not an orphan, he's not, Luke Skywalker, he's not the Captain Kirk of the JJ films. That's not his story, so I don't want to see that. When I go see He-Man, I don't want to see that story. The other speculation is that they're just pulling a trick out of the hat of the 1987 playbook, or they're actually remaking that film, because that film bookends. It was kind of the original bait and switch, where they basically bookended. They promised He-Man and Master Universe and Eternia, and they gave us that in the first couple of minutes of the film. Then they went to Earth, and then we just get Eternia again at the end of the film. So they bookend the film, and a lot of people went, and I think the reason why the film didn't do so well wasn't that it was bad, but because basically people got bait and switch. They were promised they were going to get Eternia, and they really just got one scene, sort of one setting, one castle, one set, split over two scenes, and that's it. And I mean, that worked for Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, but Star Trek IV already had 3 films that established the Star Trek universe. So it was okay to go to Earth for a film and just sort of show Starfleet and that universe sort of at the start and the end of the film. That worked. And it didn't really work for this film because we didn't have enough established. So if they try that, it's going to fail just as hard. Now, I know they're on Netflix, they've got less money, but there's a lot of Netflix films made on decent budgets that manage to create very interesting and expansive worlds. So they've really got no excuse, and I'm just really dreading this. I hope it doesn't happen, because a lot of people are reading into that synopsis. I didn't at first, but now I'm starting to, and I really hope they don't do any of these. I hope they just do He-Man's origin story. He's Prince Adam. He gets given the sword. He has to find that power, and then he has to actually fight a battle, because too many franchises do the origin story thing, and yet they spend all this time on the origin, and you don't even get to really the story of the series or the character till the end of the film. His origin story is not that complicated. He can get right into an adventure pretty quick. We can actually have a decent film. We don't need to do Secret of the Sword to do that. But we'll see what happens, because that was the She-Ra episodes all put together. The first 5 episodes were edited together as one film called The Secret of the Sword, and that's basically She-Ra's origin story, which it looks like they're kind of doing. But who knows? Who knows? We'll see. It's fun to speculate, because although there's no sort of assurance of what we're going to get, there's also no, doom coming. So we'll just see what happens. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of it. If you have any rumours or gossip or ideas, let me know, and we'll see what happens. Thanks.